Hello! Happy August! Let's make a dress. But first, a bit of housekeeping from July. Actually, hopping back to the end of June real quick, this is what my monster hydrangea looked like before I left for Iowa. Well, I'm back home and back to the sweltering Virginia heat, and I just wanted to show everybody my monster hydrangea, which bloomed while I was gone. As you can see, it is a good 2 feet taller than me. It's a monster as compared to the exact same bush on the other side of the sidewalk. Here, let me give you a comparison. Stage right and stage left. It's so big. I'm going to start by unpacking and showing off some of the things that you have not seen yet that I brought back with me from my travels. First of all, I finished the embroidery on my blouse waist. I honestly did not realize how close I was to being done, and then I was hanging out with my sister in her sewing studio, and I had finished all of the machine sewing that I brought with me to work on for the weekend I was at her house. And we were just chatting and hanging out, and she was creating, and I pulled out my embroidery, and I only had like 4 inches of scallops left, so I just finished them, and it's done now. I'm still kind of in shock because I've been working on it off and on, not steadily, but I've been working on it for 2 years, and I don't quite know what to do with myself now that it's done, other than go back and add more embroidery, which I'm probably going to do. I have a lot of thread left. I feel like I barely made a dent in my embroidery floss for this project. I've got 2 full skeins left, unused, and another half a skein. So I will be adding the sheer lower sleeves that I had planned initially out of my remaining sheer mint green fabric, and those are going to be embroidered. But I also think I want to add some embroidery to the plain upper sleeves, which I hadn't initially planned to do, but there's no reason that I can't. And I think when I do that, I may also add some width to the sleeves with my embroidery design, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, let's see. I did not start on this dress. That still needs to be cut out. I did finish this dress, and I've worn it a bunch of times. Don't always wear the sash with it, so it just got put back in my bag of projects, but it's pretty cute. I did do some doll sewing while I was there and collected some more fabrics for doll sewing, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I did not do any work on this skirt while I was gone. I have a pair of pants I'm working on, some alterations for my husband. Didn't do anything with that. Also did not start on this dress. Also did nothing with this skirt. Still needs a new hem and waistband. Also did nothing with this dress. Pattern pieces are still attached. I did finish the first gray rayon blouse and didn't do anything with the second one, but that will be coming up. Oh yes, I did make and have since worn my new silk robe made from an old curtain. And I've got all this extra fabric that I'm going to make a dress from. No idea when or why. I don't have a reason to make a random silk dress, but it's on the list. And then I have the 2 large chunks of cotton flannel. Also the 2 large chunks of just plain woven cotton. These were the linings of the curtains. These just need to be washed and added to the fabric stash. Speaking of the fabric stash, my mom did a bit of destashing while I was there by just bequeathing things to me. One being this sequined fabric, good half yard, which I guess she's had since I was in high school, because I think she originally got it with the idea that I would use it for a prom dress, but I didn't. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I'll find something fun, I'm sure. She also gave me this beautiful plaid, which I'm pretty sure is polyester, but I'll probably end up making a Christmas dress for my daughter, at least the skirt of a Christmas dress. Probably with a velvet bodice, because that's just what I envision next to this plaid. She also gave me some fringe. Some upholstery fringe. In case I want to be Carol Burnett, I guess. And last but not least, we found ourselves with a bit of time to kill over the weekend. This was after I'd gotten back from Iowa, but my husband and kids and I went to North Carolina to attend a friend's wedding. And the day before the wedding, like I said, we had some time to kill before we could check into our Airbnb for the weekend. And we happened to stop at a shopping complex that had a Joann Fabrics, and I got some fabric that was on sale because it was just so pretty. I love a good plaid. You may not know that about me, but I want to get more plaid in my wardrobe. And I'm probably going to make a giant circle skirt out of this because I have a lot of it. I just bought what was left on the bolt. It was 4 1/3 yards and it was 60% off. So I got these 4 yards for $20. It's 100% cotton and it is yarn dyed plaid, which is my favorite thing. So it's not printed on and I don't have to actually worry about grain lines because the grain line is the line in the plaid. I love that. The reason I went into the Joann Fabrics in the first place was to get buttons, which I was successful there, so that's good. Now in July, I worked on some extra projects, and I have in previous months worked on bonus projects. And I'm here today to tell you that I also have another category, which is secret projects. And I'm going to introduce you to one today, which is this large amount of linen that I recently bought. And I'm going to make into as many slips and camisoles as I can possibly get out of my 3 yards of nice, fine, lightweight linen. I made myself a bunch of these slips last year, and I did film working on them, but I never made a video. I don't think I finished doing any of them on camera, so I don't have a full story to tell of how I made them. But I wear them pretty much every day. I have, I think, 4 just above knee length slips and then 2 hip length camisoles. And I wear the slips under my dresses or my blouse and skirt combos, and then I wear the camisoles if I'm going to wear pants and I don't want the extra bulk of the skirt of the slip tucked into my pants. But they are really great. They keep me cool and they take the place of the small army of tank tops that I used to wear, and those have all worn out recently and I needed to replace them, so I decided to replace them with linen slips. Cutting these out was complicated by the fact that they needed to be cut on the bias. I actually have a fairly detailed blog post about the very first bias linen slip that I made in 2016, which I will link in the description if you are interested in checking it out. I did cut out 2 camisoles and 1 full-length slip, and I also have, left over from the last time I did a round of these, another shorter camisole from a different pattern. This is a pattern that I found online years ago, and I have used it successfully, I think only once, but I've been dying to make more since then. It's a very detailed pattern with instructions for the insertion lace and everything. And I did cut out this one. I didn't have enough fabric to get the front piece on the fold, so I joined 2 pieces together with some insertion lace because why not? And for some reason I just never finished putting it together, but I am going to make it now, so I will have 3 camisoles and 1 slip. But I also have all of this leftover fabric, which none of the pieces are large enough to get any of the... I need 2 hands for this. I've just piled them up, lining up the straight of grain, because all of the pieces, except this one, had at least 1 straight edge. So I should be able to piece this back together into large enough pieces to cut out, I think, another slip. And I am going to go with the Vera Venus slip pattern. So it's going to be a lot of piecing, but I rather enjoy this kind of puzzle, making fabric large enough to fit pattern pieces that I want to use, so I'm gonna have fun with it. I started laying out my linen scraps to try to piece together large enough pieces to make another slip. It was a struggle until I realized that it would be easier to lay the fabric on top of the pattern pieces. But my paper pieces were only half the pattern piece, meant to be laid out on the fold. So I used painter's tape to draw rough lines around them, then mirrored each one to get the full pattern piece outlined on my cutting table. This worked really well. I was able to cover both pieces with linen scraps, then used cotton insertion lace to piece them together along the straight of grain. I am really impressed with how well that worked. I mean, the pieces are pretty funky looking, but they are on the bias. And I was able to reduce my scraps to this much. I'm super stoked with that. Okay, I promised you and myself yesterday that I would start working on a dress. And I did do that poll back in June, was it? For which dress I should do first, and I'm pretty sure the daisies won, and it is already halfway cut out, so I do have, I guess, a leg up on that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on that one, even though I really want to do the white and red one first. I'm going to use that as a reward for myself after I finish the daisies. thread color am I going to use? Maybe just white.
I did decide to use lime green thread, which I conveniently already had 2 spools of.
Okay, I have sewn the bodice together and confirmed that it's going to fit. I did a quick little try on, which I will show you right now. So now I just need to cut out the second set of all of those same pieces and put that all together. So the bodice lining and the 2 additional skirt panels, and I have so much fabric left over. I think I will definitely have enough to make a separate additional skirt, which I should be able to wear with both of my teal blouses, which is making me very excited. Speaking of blouses, I am wearing this one for the first time today. And I am struggling to keep it tucked into the waistband of my skirt, which is unfortunate, but I was pretty confident that was going to be a problem. It was a valiant effort, I think, but this particular dress pattern was not meant to be adapted to a blouse. And also, I really didn't have enough fabric to make it work the way I wanted it to. So I think what I'm going to do is attach a skirt to it. I don't think I have any fabric that would make it look like it's supposed to be a dress, but if I just attach a skirt and then wear another skirt on top of it, that will at least keep it tucked in. At least that's my plan. And if I do find a fabric that I think works to turn it into a dress, I might wear it as a standalone dress, but I don't think that's likely. I do really like this as a blouse. I think it's very cute. I love the color. I love that I was able to use these buttons. I love that it matches my birthstone aquamarine engagement ring. But it's a little annoying to wear, unfortunately. The back stays better tucked in than the front. Partly, I think, because it keeps wanting to ride up on my shoulders. It's supposed to kind of... So even just doing that untucks it, because there's just not very much fabric at the hem. Also, I can't really raise my arms very high. I mean, I can. It just untucks the blouse immediately. You know what, though? That's why it's good that I'm doing all this sewing now, not during the year I intend to wear vintage every day, because this gives me time to fix all the little issues that have cropped up along the way. Anyway, back to this dress. I'm starting to find some motivation and momentum, and I'm starting to get excited about having it done. So I'm back on my ADHD nonsense again. I am currently in a phase of sewing 3 projects all at once. What could go wrong? I suppose technically it would be a lot more than 3, but I'm counting a group of them all as one because I'm working on the linen slips and camisoles. I'm also working on the Daisy's dress, and I can't show it to you right now because it's actually in the wash, but I am also working on my embroidered blouse waist because I finished all the embroidery that I needed to do on the main part of the blouse, and now I am going to remove the sleeves, add embroidery to those, and by doing so expand the sleeves because when I wore it last week for a photo shoot, the sleeves were far too tight and uncomfortable, so I'm going to fix that by also making them fancier and match the vibe of the rest of the blouse. But I need to wash it since I did wear it and it was hot and I got sweaty. So as soon as it's out of the dryer, I will remove the sleeves and start adding the embroidery to it. Well, I need to do the embroidery before I can add it to the sleeves. And yes, that is totally unrelated to my overall vintage wardrobe. The linen slips are at least related because I am going to wear them with that entire wardrobe, and indeed in my everyday life as soon as they are finished. All of the slips that I have at the moment are also in the wash. But I am rekindling my love for insertion lace in 2 different projects simultaneously, so that's pretty fun. So I'm just bouncing from project to project as the mood hits. I get bored of one and then I grab another and do a little bit on that. So I'm doing these all very piecemeal. It's not going to be finish one thing and then start the next. Maybe I'll just finish them all at the same time. I don't know, we'll see. This may not be the most efficient process, but it does help my brain in times when I am having trouble focusing on one thing for a long period of time. It helps to have something to keep my energy fresh. It's the novelty, you know? And I also want to start working on the skirt that I will make from the leftover Daisy's fabric. I have 3 full yards of it, and I did already cut ties for the Daisy's dress from the remainder, but still, I have a lot. And I'm contemplating making a circle skirt. I think that would be fun and interesting and different. I don't have any circle skirts in my wardrobe currently, so that might be something just new and interesting to add. And the skirt of the Daisy dress is going to be very tightly gathered, so I don't think I want another gathered skirt that will be exactly like the skirt of the dress. And this fabric is very flowy and drapey, and I don't think pleating would quite be right for it, so I think circle skirt it is going to be, which I might majorly regret when it comes time to hemming it. We shall see. So I don't normally do a lot of sewing after my kids are in bed these days, but when I do have the energy, which amazingly I have tonight, I try to actually use it to get stuff done. And I thought I would come out and show you all of my slips and camisoles because they came out of the wash, and I don't know, I just thought I would talk about them and why I love them so much and why I need more. I will not be modeling them on myself because I would like to get monetized someday. So here they are on my dress form. Anna. This is the first one that I made. I believe it was in 2016. One thing I really like about this one is I did a V with the straps in the back because I hate straps constantly feeling like they're slipping off my shoulders, and I have very narrow sloped shoulders, so that is a constant issue for me. So this definitely solves that, and it's actually the perfect slip to wear under my new blue patchwork dress because that does have shoulders that cut in deeper at the back, and normal bra straps are like right along there. So this is perfect for that. Now for a long time that one was my only bias cut slip, but at the same time as I made that one, I also did what is essentially a modern take on an 18th or 19th century shift. So it just has little raglan sleeves. This one obviously has to be worn under something that has sleeves, and it is also cut on the straight of grain, not the bias, so it's quite a bit baggier than all my bias slips. It does have a drawstring in the neck. This one doesn't get nearly as much wear as the bias slips because it's not as versatile, but it is still convenient to have. These two are pretty much identical, so I'll just show you one. I did originally make one of them with longer straps, and they had buttons and buttonholes here at the top corners. The straps were long enough that I could crisscross them in the back, and then the button at the end would attach here, or if I wanted them to have straight across straps, then there was another button a couple inches higher that would then go up and across. But I had to redo those straps when one of them broke in the washing machine because it got too tangled around other things in the washer and just snapped off. So I took the buttons off and just sewed the buttonholes closed. I think it's the other one. It's not this one. This one has the straps it originally had, but I liked the idea of having interchangeable straps, but it just wasn't practical for this particular garment in the end. So now I have two that are the same. Now I also have two camisoles, so they're the shorter length. I don't know if you can see that at all. So they end right on the high hip and are very convenient for wearing with pants. They're basically the exact same thing as the longer slips. I just used a different lace on the center front neckline, but they have the same straps. Everything is the same except the length and the lace. Now this one, I think I initially made the straps just a bit too long, so I went back and added an extra little bit of strap here and here just to hold them up on my shoulders better, because I did have problems with the shoulder straps falling off on this one just all the time. This one I also did have to piece to get both the front and back from the remaining fabric, so this was another instance of making the best use of my fabric by piecing together along the straight of grain so that it would hang properly on the bias. And I think I did a really good job of it, so it does look like it's supposed to. Coming in from editing here because I didn't like how I explained this next part. Basically, I wear these slips and camisoles as modern shifts. They are my first layer of clothing next to my skin, and I wear a bra, or sometimes a corset, on top of the linen layer, and then my outer clothing on top of that. This helps my bras last a lot longer and need to be laundered less frequently, because the linen absorbs my sweat and body oils, keeping my bra or corset and outer clothes cleaner. They also make the experience of wearing a bra bearable for me. I am constantly washing these slips and camisoles so that I have a fresh, clean one to wear every single day. So that is why I have so many of these, that is why I go through them so quickly, and that is why I need more. I can never have enough bias cut linen slips and camisoles. So I have bad news. This beautiful camisole top that I cut out a year ago and that I've been working on to very carefully match up all of the seams and the lace and make it look really pretty, does not fit. I tried it on and I couldn't get it off, and I had to cut myself out of it. So that's rather disheartening for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because I was really looking forward to wearing this. It was going to be so pretty. But also, that means that the full-length slip that I worked so hard to insertion lace patchwork the pieces together will also not fit because I cut it out from the exact same pattern. I might have a solution to both problems, but I'm very annoyed. Potential solution to problem number 1 is just piece in an extra bias section here, maybe with lace, just to make it larger. And solution to problem number 2, potential solution, is to make this slip shorter, because it does flare out really pretty nicely. So if I just like chop off the top, I don't know, 6 inches or so, it will be wider, and because it was already going to be a full-length slip, it will now just be mid-thigh length. And by doing that, I should be able to save all the work I did on the insertion lace. I hope. But I definitely need to make a larger version of this pattern and make sure it's going to fit me. Probably before I do all that work. You guys, I have no chill. I spent the rest of yesterday and all of today so far making new, larger pattern pieces to replace the pattern pieces that I had that I now know do not fit me. So the thing is, I have made this slip and I have recently worn that slip that I made and it still fits me. So I had confidence that this pattern would still work. And so I was just plowing ahead because it's on the bias, it has to stretch, right? Anyway, it doesn't, so, or at least not enough. I don't know why the one that I made does work and the one that I cut out more recently doesn't, but whatever. So I made the new pattern pieces and then I was like, well, I have to test them out before I recut my heavily pieced, hard-earned, large enough pieces to make a slip. So I cut out this beautiful yellow, I can't remember the name of this fabric. It's not rayon, but it's tencel maybe? It's one of those man-made cellulose fibers. I bought it in England. It feels so dreamy and it's such a beautiful sunshine yellow color. I've been wanting to make a dress from this for 5 years now because that's how long I've had it. And I had just enough. I think I bought what was left on the roll, and the reason I think that is because there was still a sticky residue along one end. You can see I did my normal overlock and wash situation, but the sticky residue did not come off and it was all along one cut edge of the fabric. I ended up snipping and tearing the fabric because it does tear really beautifully right along the grain line. And the other cut edge of the fabric was torn on the grain line, which is good because I could then use that grain line to match up and make sure I was cutting perfectly on the bias. And that was important because I had to piece the back and I needed it to be perfectly on the grain line where I was piecing so that it would hang properly on the bias. I think I was successful, and I even was able to cut 4 of the bust pieces so that I can self-line them because I want this to actually be a dress, not just a slip. But that does mean I'm going to need a lining fabric for the skirt because it's pretty sheer. I have no idea what fabric I'm going to use to line it, but I'm at least going to sew these pieces together. I also made the bust piece larger than my original, but I'm pretty confident this is going to fit. I really hope it does because I did use a finite amount of fabric from a store that I cannot visit again easily. It was in Bath, England. I would love to go back to Bath, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And it's also been 5 years, so who knows if they still even carry this fabric. But it should work. It should work. I think it should. I added 2 inches of width to both the front and back pattern pieces. So if anything, I might need to take it in, and that is a problem I can live with. I also have some really beautiful yellow double-sided satin ribbon that will work really nicely for the straps of this dress. I'm on a side quest to my side quest. As I said before, my projects are begetting projects all over the place. I have actually been wanting a yellow dress for longer than I've had this fabric, a lot longer, because I saw the musical Contact, or a recording of it anyway, when I was in college, and the woman in the yellow dress, if you know what I'm talking about, you know. Yeah, it's living rent-free in my brain, and I want the feeling of that dress, if not the exact style, because that does have like a gathered bust area, and I'm not going to get that with this. I don't have enough fabric to make that happen. But the bias cut knee-length skirt I think is going to give me the same vibes, and the color is perfection. So it's all I can think about right now. I just need to make it. Now this fabric, whatever it is so beautiful, so flowy, so drapey, so soft. It was a nightmare to cut out, if you can believe it. Do you think it's going to be really awful to sew on mostly bias seams? Let's find out. Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, I think I've reached a stopping point on the yellow dress for now, because I definitely want to line the skirt. The fabric is just too sheer to be able to wear as a dress. So I'm going to have to buy some lining. I don't currently have any fabric that would be suitable, I don't think, so that's gonna get put on hold until I can make a trip to the fabric store. So I'm gonna go back to working on the Daisies dress and see if I can get something done in this vlog so that I don't have to leave you guys on a cliffhanger again. Just for context, this is how sheer my fabric is. So you know how some projects are a lot of fun to work on and everything goes smoothly and it's very satisfying and fun, and then some projects fight you every step of the way? This one is the latter, and I think I'm starting to realize why I was so reluctant to actually do any work on this dress, because it just keeps feeling more and more complicated the longer I work on it. And while I don't really consciously remember making the first dress, the halter style version, I think subconsciously I do remember making it, and that's what was holding me back, because some part of me remembered that it sucked. So for both the front and the back, we have a sharp V meeting 2 other pieces that are also attached. And same here, just inverted, the sharp V meeting these 2 pieces. And I'm realizing that that is one of my least favorite things to sew. I really dislike having to match a specific point to another specific point, especially if that's also meeting a seam. It just gets very finicky and stressful, and I don't want to do it. And I'm lining this bodice, so I have to do it 4 times. There are some techniques that are fun. There are some techniques that are easy. There's some that are fun and easy. There's some that are difficult but still fun. Some that are not fun but easy. And there are some that are difficult and not fun. For me, at least, this one is difficult and not fun. I would so much rather ease the outside curve to the inside curve of a princess seam than have to match 3 points in the same spot to get a perfect inverted triangle. And I hate it so much that I don't even feel satisfaction when I get it right. I just feel annoyed that I had to do it in the first place, if that makes sense. I don't enjoy sewing darts either, and I find them difficult to get perfect, but I do feel satisfaction when I get them perfect. And this is just frustrating the entire time, and I don't even feel relief that it's done. I feel angry that I had to do it. So all that to say, the stress has not been progressing very quickly, and I have not been enjoying working on it. I definitely think I will enjoy wearing it. I do think it's going to be very comfortable and cute and fun to wear, but it is not cute or fun to work on. I don't think I'm going to make this pattern ever again. I just need to say I hate this project. I am both frustrated and bored by it, and I don't want to do it anymore. Well, hello. It's been a minute. I have not been out here to sew in days. Almost a week at this point. I got really sick at the end of last week and was completely non-functional for an entire day, and then the day after that was just recovering and catching up on housework and laundry and all the things I couldn't do while I was severely incapacitated. It was just a bad cold, and I got over it pretty quickly. I did take a COVID test. It was negative. I don't think it was that. So normally I would have done a wrap-up of the first half of August vlog on the 15th or the 16th, but those were the days I was out of commission, so I'm gonna wrap it up now and promptly start the next one. So I'll probably see you in a few weeks. I don't have any good outtakes for this one. I don't know what to tell you. How about a random fact about me instead? I once lost my glasses out of an airplane. True story.